Let's talk about how our first 12 weeks of homeschool has gone. Welcome to this House of Walls. My name is Ashley, and here I love to talk all things secular homeschooling, reading, and anything else that I feel like sharing. We are done with our first 12 weeks of school, which means we are a third of the way done with our school year, which is incredible. I can't believe that we have accomplished that many weeks and all the things that we have done. It has been a really good school year so far. I think it's probably been one of our best school years. There hasn't been anything like huge and major. There have been some curriculum changes, but not like totally rewriting the plan like I have had to do in the years past. So today I'm just going to kind of go over a couple of things, what we are currently reading. I have shared what we have read so far in my I'm Back video, and that is linked down below if you want to see all the books that we have read so far. It has been a fantastic reading here, and I think it will just keep going. I'm going to talk about some favorites and then some curriculum changes. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee like always, and we will get started. All right, let's go over some books. So my fifth grader is reading Book Scavenger. He just started this last week when he finished the other book that he was reading. And this you're following a 12-year-old girl who moves to San Francisco, where Garrison Griswold, who is a creator of the Book Scavenger, which is like a game where books and clues are hidden and you go around and find those books, but he gets attacked, and so then I think there's a mystery that happens out of all of it, even more of a mystery than normal. So I thought this would be a really fun one for him to read during the Halloween season, a good little mystery. And so far, he is enjoying it. I think he's only read, 2 tabs so far. If this is your first video, I tab all of our books, and that just gives my kids like the visual of how much I want them to read every day, and it helps. And then this past week, finishing off our 12th week of school year, we also finished our book that we were reading. So when we get back to school, we are going to be reading The One and Only Bob by Catherine Applegate. She is one of our favorite authors by far. We read The One and Only Ivan last year, so we are really excited to pick this one up and see what happens in this book. And then for my 9th grader, he is about halfway through reading Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. He's liking it so far. He does want to continue and do the 2 prequels. I had pulled them aside. I have not yet read them, so I need to hurry up and read them too. But I asked him, do you just want to stick with the original trilogy and now move on to some other books, or do you want to read the prequels? And he said that he wants to read the prequels. So this has been a lot of fun for him to read. We are dying for him to finish this so that we can watch the last 2 movies. So hopefully that will be soon. And then, of course, always I have reference books that we pull in for all kinds of different subjects, and picture books. I still love to bring in a good picture book. So I'm not showcasing those because we just kind of pull them in as needed. All right, let's talk about some favorites for this year. Now, I've had these for maybe a year or so, but they kind of got put away. Well, one of them got used and the other did not. And then they just both kind of got put away. But I have multiplication and division wrap-ups. You know, my 5th grader just needs a little extra practice. He knows his multiplication facts. He just needs to get a little faster with them so that he doesn't have to sit there for a long time and think about what the answer is. So this one is great because you can wrap it up. So 4 times 1 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, and you'll go all the way down, and then you turn it over and there's little grooves on the back so that you can see if you're correct or not. So we have been doing both the multiplication and the division. I've pulled in some other little things like math fact cards and an old multiplication workbook that my oldest had kind of used but didn't totally finish. But those aren't favorites, while these are. And then we have Myrtle Jr. So I showed this in the video all about our morning meetings. Now, I will say I have pulled my 9th grader off of morning meetings. That is one of our updates. He just wasn't getting what he was wanting from it, and it just kind of was like hindering our day. So he can just go off and immediately start his day. But my 5th grader and I are still doing morning meeting, and so we have brought in Myrtle Jr. We just hadn't gotten to it yet, and I thought, what better time than during Halloween season to bring in some mysteries? And we're really liking it. It really starts off kind of explaining how to solve these puzzles and about the different characters. I think there's 4 different characters, and you can start with any of the characters. You can go out of order, and so that is what we have decided to do. My 5th grader wanted to start with Buster McPaws, which is the cat, and so we are quite a few episodes into it, and we will be continuing that and just have fun with it. And then another really big win, which I didn't think it would be, it's our first year using them, but we have the 5th grade notebook and the 9th grade notebook that we're just kind of adding stuff in as needed. You know, those like little drawings of things that, whoa, where does it go? Like, it doesn't go with a curriculum. We just decided to draw this little thing. Or little notes, or first day of school signs. Those papers that just kind of get lost or thrown away. Now they have a place to live, and it has turned out really well. So I will show you a couple of examples. Yeah, so like first day of school sign. Perfect. Has a place to live. Drawings. Here we go. Another drawing. And then this was a curriculum thing, but we decided to glue it into here because it was really pretty and it was leaf rubbings. We are doing current events. And so every time that we do one of these little worksheets for current event, it gets glued into here. And the last thing that we are including is book reports. So again, this little worksheet, he fills it out and then it gets glued in here. So at the end of the year, we'll have a whole notebook filled with all kinds of things. My 9th grader looks similar, maybe not as many drawings, but he does have like book reports. He's put in little notes for things that he's done, some other different kind of art projects, and then like his first day of school sign. So different, but for my 9th grader. All right, so now let's talk what we have changed around with some of our curriculum. Of course, science. You know, secular science is super difficult. It's really hard to navigate. And so finding what works can be a challenge. Let's start with my 5th grader. So we have kind of switched his science. He was using Science Chunks by Elemental Science. And it's okay. It's okay. He just wanted something a little bit more. I don't think that biology things are his necessarily favorite. And that was very much like earth science, biology. That was what it was in it. He wanted something different. So I have found Harbor and Sprout has units, and he picked the engineering unit. He is so excited to be doing this. It's probably one of his favorite things that we do. I like that it is laid out in different modules. So we do a module a week, and it just has a different theme about engineering. And so we read a couple of pages all about it and discuss it. There's some worksheets that go with it, some copy work, and then at the end of every module, there are some notebooking prompts and activity ideas. And so in my planning, I go through these and figure out what we want to pull out from those, if any, or if I want to bring in some other things. And this has been great. We are really liking it. There are 22 different modules, I believe. Yeah, 22. So you can pause here, zoom in, see what all the different modules are. And so we will go through this, and then we will still have some time at the end of our school year. We did get through the first unit of elemental science, which was plants. And it went well. Like I said, he just wanted some more. So I have actually transferred it over into this notebook here. And you can see all of the notebooking things that we did for that unit. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I could have gone just a little bit deeper with some things, but that's okay. Now we have continued and we are putting in our things for engineering. So some of this came with it, like these little worksheets here. And then I think this one I pulled off from Teachers Pay Teachers, but it was a little timeline that we did. And so it's going really nicely into his notebook and we will continue. Now, when he is done with the engineering one, we will pull back the elemental science chunks for the end of the year, and there's a sound unit, and I forget what the other unit is. I'll put it here as I'm editing it and look it up, but that will take us to the full 36 weeks. So he is really excited about the changes that we have made, and it's working out really well. Some books that we are using with the engineering unit, he had this one already because he loves engineering. And so this is Engineering in Plain Sight. He loves to go and pull this out and be like, oh, this is some extra information about what we are reading about. And he kind of teaches me from this book. And then we are also incorporating some awesome engineering activities for kids. And this has been a lot of fun to pull these things in. We do actually, this reminds me, I need to run to Michael's and get some craft sticks and hot glue because somehow we are out of both of those. And he is going to be making this bridge here to go along with the unit of bridges that we just did. So that is the only change that I have made for my 5th grader. Everything else is working out really well, and we're just chugging along. My 9th grader has had a couple of other changes. Primarily, it has been science. At the beginning of the year, he was using Build Your Library Level 9, and it is like earth science kind of stuff. We just didn't really like some of the resources that were incorporated with it. It just wasn't working for us. So I went back to the drawing board. I tried a biology curriculum that I thought could work, and it didn't. I will still hold on to it and have it for my younger son if it might work for him. But in finding the Harbor and Sprout engineering unit for my 5th grader, I found a botany unit for my 9th grader. So this is a much smaller unit, but it has the same kind of layout as the engineering one. But this one is for secondary level. So it does go just a little bit deeper. The reading is a little bit longer. The ink is a little bit messed up. It got messed up at the end of my printing for this. So the first 3 pages are a little messed up, but you can pause, hold it, see what is in this unit, and kind of go from there. What we like is that it does cover some botany things, but it also brings in some history, some poetry, art, music, and math. And so just kind of tying in some extra things into a science unit that he might not necessarily think is the best thing that he's ever done, but we need to get it done. So this is where we are. He is still using his binder for it, and this has worked out really well. And it's also nice because in the changes that we've had with science curriculum, I can make those changes easily. So, for example, this was something that he did this past week. He did parts of a flower, and so we worked through labeling it and filling in these blanks. So this is still going well. And then when he is done with that unit, because as you saw, there's not many modules in that, we are going to pause on the Harbor and Sprout units. We might go back to it later and get another one to pull in some fun ideas, but we are going to go through this biology book. This is everything you need to ace biology in one big fat notebook. I think that these work really well for him. And so I will be going through and pulling out some big time biology stuff that he still needs to cover that he hasn't gotten to yet in his studies and be pulling from here. I will be making him do like the end of chapter questions so that he is kind of quizzed on it. Like, did you understand what you just read? And then some other books that I will be pulling in. I have this super simple biology book. He is definitely a visual reading learner. And so books like these just help that. And then that structure of a flower worksheet. This is where I pulled that from. This is 100 plus series biology, and so it is just filled with all kinds of worksheets. We have pulled some of these out as needed already, and we will continue. So I'm thinking once we are really into this, we will be pulling in some of this to just add some more worksheets to it. And then labs. I mean, we're trying. We are trying to get enough labs in. Something that I will be pulling in and using to get some more labs done is junk drawer biology. And this is just things you have around the house to work on some labs. Some of them are probably a little elementary and they will not work for him, but I am hoping that some of them we will be able to do. Oh, that's kind of cool. Using like rubber bands to help learn about muscles. So we will pull this in, or I will be also just pulling in internet resources to help. We're also using Crash Course as needed. I love Crash Course. He likes Crash Course videos. And so if there is something where I'm like, you know, we need just a little bit more to beef this up, that is the way to go. So for a while, science, that was the primary change of subject. Now, I did mention I have pulled him off of our morning meetings, and another thing is writing. So we use Layers of Learning Writers Workshop, which is a family-style writing curriculum. And he has used it for the past year. Yeah, I think we started it last year. And I think kind of this time last year too, I had pulled him off of it. And it really just needs to be like, he just needs to go and get some writing done on his own. Now, in doing this, I have also simplified his kind of language arts course altogether. I think there were just too many different moving components with all kinds of different things that we were pulling in, and it was just too much. So in that, I have changed his language arts. We are using a couple different resources. The first is How to Be Good at English Language Arts. Now this is grades 2 through 8, but that is fine. Like, I just need him to read through this. Basically, everything in here, I think that he knows. There might be a couple new things, or it's explained a little bit differently, and I just need him to keep practicing it. And so he is going through this and reading about the topic, and then he has this, and this is the Big Fat Middle School English Language Arts Workbook, and it has 100 plus ELA practice exercises. So you can see some of the main topics that are covered in this. At the beginning of every chapter in here, it does have a little bit of kind of what is covered in that unit. It does not go as in depth as like the regular notebook does. It just kind of covers it quickly, and then there are some exercises. And so far, this is working really, really well. We did start later on in here, and we pulled in some figurative language, and we were able to cover that. So this is kind of his main thing for language arts. I just need him to keep practicing it and really nail those concepts, and then we'll go from there. And then for writing, so pulling him off of Layers of Learning Writers Workshop, well, what do we do? I'm going to be pulling in a couple different things. We are starting with writing a really good paragraph. He has kind of the main concepts down, but let's really, really nail that good paragraph. So I found this How to Write an Awesome Paragraph Step by Step, and it's going really well so far. We have covered how to find a topic sentence, what a topic sentence is, how to beef up that topic sentence, and now he is going to be moving on to, like details and transition words, quotes, weak words and repeated phrases, summarizing, a closing sentence, and then writing some really good paragraphs here at the end. So when he is done with this, I do have a couple of other workbooks. One is how to write an outline. Now, he has done a course from IEW, and so he does have writing outlines pretty much down. I do want a really good refresher for him to just, look, we just need a basic outline. It doesn't even have to follow all the really strict rules like IEW. Let's get a good outline. And then I do have another workbook, or I might get like the same one as this. There's how to write a 5-paragraph essay. And we're just going to work really hard at just pulling in that kind of those basic writing skills that he is going to need from here on out and nail them. So that is our goal in writing right now. I would still love to be able to pull in some fun things to kind of bring in other elements of writing, which is what I really love from Layers of Learning. It's not just like how to write a narrative summary. Like, it pulls in poetry, and right now we're doing a unit on writing letters. You know, it pulls in other elements, but I think it just got a little bit too busy for him, and so we're just, let's focus on the basics and really nail them. All right, so that is where we are with our school year. I had gone into the school year thinking that I was going to give like monthly updates, but I just didn't have things to update on. Everything was going great, or things that we were changing, I didn't have answers for at that time. As you can see, still some things are a little bit up in the air, and I do need to sit down. We're off this week, and so I do need to sit down and continue that planning and how is this all going to come together for the rest of the school year. But as of right now, this is what is working for us, and we have just had to make just a couple little changes, and that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more videos soon.